Age is not the cause of death for the majority of people. They pass away from what has been quietly lacking for years. Weak legs, memory loss, heart failure, unexpected falls. After the age of 60, it is common to develop silent vitamin deficits. You will not feel them, not at first. However, by then, it may be too late. In this video, you'll learn about the 5 hidden deficiencies that could be silently robbing your strength, mind, and possibly your life, and how to stop them before it's too late. Vitamin B12, the silent nerve killer after 60. You don't wake up one day unable to walk. It happens slowly. A stumble here, a moment of dizziness there. Maybe you feel pins and needles in your feet. Maybe your legs get tired faster, or you notice it takes more effort to stand up. You might tell yourself it's just age, but what if it's something else? Something quiet, something correctable. Vitamin B12 is one of the most essential nutrients for nerve health, and without it, your legs may stop listening to your brain. Over time, this isn't just about fatigue or clumsiness. This becomes a complete breakdown in the communication between your nervous system and your muscles. And for millions of older adults, it starts long before anyone notices. B12 deficiency is especially dangerous because it doesn't show up with loud symptoms. It creeps in through numbness, imbalance, weakness, a sense that your legs are moving through mud. You may lose your ability to judge where your feet are. You may start relying on walls or furniture without realizing it. This happens because B12 helps produce myelin, the protective coating around your nerves. When you don't have enough, the nerves become frayed. Messages get lost. Movements become jerky, delayed, or unsafe. Worse yet, once the nerves are damaged, recovery isn't always guaranteed. That's why early detection is critical. One of the reasons B12 deficiency is so common after age 60 is because your body becomes less efficient at absorbing it. Unlike many nutrients that pass easily through digestion, vitamin B12 needs a specific process. First, your stomach needs enough acid to separate B12 from food proteins. Then, it needs a substance called intrinsic factor, made by your stomach lining, to transport it through the intestines. As we age, acid production declines, and intrinsic factor can drop significantly. The result is that even if you're eating meat, eggs, or dairy every day, your body might not be getting any of the B12 from it. Add in medications like antacids, proton pump inhibitors, or metformin, all of which block absorption, and the odds of deficiency climb even higher. The consequences go far beyond weak legs. Long-term B12 deficiency can mimic Alzheimer's disease. It can trigger mood changes, confusion, memory loss, and depression. It can increase your risk of falls, fractures, and hospitalization. And in the worst cases, it leads to permanent paralysis or irreversible neurological damage. Many older adults are misdiagnosed with dementia, anxiety, or Parkinson's-like tremors, when in reality they're dealing with a simple but dangerous nutritional deficiency. The tragedy is that it's one of the easiest problems to prevent, and one of the easiest to treat. So what can you do? The first step is to know your status. A simple blood test can tell you if your B12 levels are within a healthy range. Many doctors don't routinely check for it unless you ask, so be proactive. If your levels are low, treatment is straightforward and safe. You may need to increase dietary intake. B12 is found in eggs, fish, meat, poultry, and dairy. But for most seniors, food alone isn't enough. Sublingual B12 supplements dissolved under the tongue are highly effective. In more serious cases, especially where absorption is impaired, doctors may recommend monthly B12 injections. These bypass the digestive system entirely and ensure your body gets what it needs. The earlier you intervene, the more likely you are to reverse the symptoms and protect your mobility. Strong legs are about more than muscle mass. They depend on speed, coordination, precision, all of which are controlled by your nervous system. If your nerves can't send the signal, your muscles can't respond. This is why B12 is so vital to your independence. Every time you step off a curb, turn around quickly, or try to catch your balance, it's your nerves doing the work. Without B12, they fail silently, until one day they don't fire at all. So if your legs feel slower, heavier, or clumsier than they used to, don't ignore it. If your memory is slipping, if you feel foggy, off balance, or just not like yourself, ask about B12. Don't wait for a fall to find out something was missing. Vitamin B12 deficiency is invisible until it isn't. But once it's corrected, life can change dramatically. What felt like aging can lift, energy can return, strength can rebuild, and your legs can start responding again. Vitamin D, the collapse beneath your feet. You don't always feel it happening. One day the stairs feel steeper, another day your legs feel slower. You find yourself avoiding walks you used to enjoy. Maybe your knees ache or you feel stiff getting up from a chair. Maybe you've had a fall, maybe more than one. And the whole time you tell yourself it's just age, but age isn't the full story. There's a deeper, quieter reason so many people over 60 begin to lose strength, mobility, and balance. And it starts with a deficiency in vitamin D. Vitamin D isn't just a bone vitamin. It's a power switch for your entire movement system. It activates muscles, strengthens bones, sharpens coordination, and supports reflexes that keep you upright. Without enough of it, your body weakens from the inside out. And the terrifying part, you may not know anything is wrong until you're already on the ground. That's because vitamin D deficiency doesn't cause a sharp pain or a visible injury. It steals your foundation little by little. Your ability to move quickly, to react, to stay stable when your balance is tested. And for older adults, that kind of loss can be fatal. After 60, your body stops making vitamin D the way it used to. Your skin produces less of it from sunlight. You likely spend more time indoors, either by choice or because of reduced mobility. Even if you go outside, clothing and sunscreen can block the ultraviolet rays your body needs to make vitamin D naturally. Food can help, but it's rarely enough. Fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified dairy offer small amounts, but unless you eat them consistently, and your digestion is in perfect working order, it won't be enough to rebuild a deficit that's already deepening. What happens when your vitamin D drops too low? First, your muscles weaken. Not in a dramatic way, just enough that you start using your arms to push off chairs. You lose that spring in your step. You get tired faster walking upstairs. Your calves feel heavier. Then your bones begin to thin. That's because vitamin D controls calcium absorption. Without it, no matter how much calcium you consume, your body can't put it into your bones. The result is silent, progressive bone loss, osteoporosis. That can turn a minor stumble into a shattered hip. A fracture like that isn't just painful. It can be deadly. More than 1 in 4 seniors who suffer a hip fracture die within a year, often from complications tied to immobility, infection, or further decline. Still, that is not the end of things. Vitamin D also aids in control of inflammation. When your muscles hurt all the time, when your joints feel swollen and irritated, when persistent discomfort makes movement seem like a job, maybe vitamin D is the key. Low levels have been connected to not just falls and fractures, but also to tiredness, sadness, and a compromised immune system. It goes beyond simply falling more. Your body quits healing the way it once did. You linger down more slowly. You recover more slowly. Everything gets harder. The worst thing is that early-on vitamin D insufficiency hardly creates symptoms. Your muscles shrink and your bones deteriorate, yet you can feel fine. And it is considerably more difficult to recover after you lose too much bone mass or experience leg nerve damage. This is why testing is important. Your vitamin D levels can be found on a basic blood test. Most doctors can order it quickly. If your number falls less than 30 ng/ml, you are deficient. Many senior people go below 20, others even count in the single digits. That is not merely low. That is perilous. The good news is vitamin D is fixable. One finds success with supplementation. The recommended form is D3, and most older persons gain from 1,000 to 2,000 IU daily. Sometimes more under the direction of a doctor. Your levels will be restored with time in the sun, if at all feasible, and with foods such as salmon, sardines, mushrooms, and fortified milk. Still, the earlier you start, the better. Once your legs give out, once you break a bone, once your freedom is disturbed, everything changes. The stays in the hospital, the rehabilitation, the walker, the dread, also occasionally is the last loss of independence. If your legs seem wobbly, if you have started utilizing walls for balance, if you feel slower, heavier, more delicate than you used to, inquire about vitamin D. Get not waiting for the fall, do not wait for the fracture, don't wait for the diagnosis arrived at too late. Though invisible, vitamin D creates markings when absent. On your posture, your walk, your bones, your life. Correct it now and you will feel the ground underfoot come back. Potassium, the secret agent driving cardiac risk and muscle collapse. The day unfolds like any other. You get off the bed and elongate your legs, but a stinging cramp grabs your calf in a few seconds. You try to stand, rubbing it, but your legs seem stiff and wobbly. Your thighs feel heavy later as you stroll around the kitchen. Your legs flutter. For a moment you feel lightheaded and naturally grasp for the counter. You say to yourself it's nothing, perhaps dehydration or perhaps inadequate sleep. But what if the actual explanation is something more profound, something most people over 60 overlook until it actually starts to hurt? A hidden potassium deficit can ruin the rhythm of your heart as well as your muscular performance. And for many senior citizens, it accumulates over several months or years, until the fall comes suddenly. Among the minerals the human body depends on most is potassium. It controls the way nerves transmit impulses. It regulates how muscles release and contract. It regulates the fluids both inside and outside every cell, including those of your muscles. Every stride, every lift, every breath gets more difficult without enough potassium, and you find it more difficult to hang on to as you get older. This is so because aged kidneys discharge potassium more rapidly. Many drugs, especially diuretics for heart failure or blood pressure, wash it out more faster. Add poor food intake and a lack of testing to create the ideal storm for decline. One can easily overlook the indications. It begins with seemingly little things. Intermittent foot cramps, a sensation of calf tightness, perhaps your heart jumps a beat or racing without reason. After standing too long, you could find your legs unable of supporting your weight. It then becomes worse. Acute muscular weakness. Stiffness, trouble moving across the hall. Some folks stand and get lightheaded, some give way. For some, the initial indication is significantly more threatening. An uneven pulse, a fainting episode, even cardiac arrest, because potassium does not only fuel your legs' muscles, it drives the one you find in your chest, and when it falls too low, the rhythm of your heart may slip. Silently dead, out of sync. Although most people link potassium to bananas, the truth is that a banana a day is hardly sufficient to avoid shortage, particularly if your body is losing potassium more quickly than it is being replenished. Although the advised daily consumption for men is 3,400 mg, and for women is roughly 2,600 mg, the average intake for those over 60 is much below both. It has nothing to do with your eating bad. It's because ordinary diets, particularly those avoiding salt or heavy in processed grains, often exclude items high in potassium. Your body keeps drawing potassium out meanwhile, by urine, by sweat, by the side effects of drugs, without your awareness of what is vanishing. Muscles do not contract normally when potassium is insufficient, either they seize or they fail. The neurons in charge of such muscles begin to fire aerobly. Low potassium sufferers can refer to their legs as rubbery or giving out, not a lack of strength here. One loses coordination and control here. Furthermore, potassium's buffering action against bodily acids helps to preserve bones. And now this mineral becomes crucial not only for the movement of your legs but also for whether your bones can support you. Faster bone loss and increased rates of osteoporosis have been related to potassium deficit. Thus, fractures are especially likely if you do fall. Today, then, it is not only weakness. Its structural instability is such, and that is a formula for catastrophe. Food first helps one rebuild potassium levels. Excellent sources are sweet potatoes, spinach, avocados, beans, lentils, oranges, and indeed bananas. To return to a normal baseline, though, you must consume several portions daily, and you might need even more if you use drugs that rob potassium. There are potassium pills, but they have to be taken carefully. Particularly for those with kidney illness or specific heart issues, too much can be equally deadly as too little. This makes testing absolutely vital. One can find whether your potassium is too low by a basic blood test. If so, your doctor might suggest regulated supplements, change your diet, or modify your drugs. You should not be waking up with cramps. When you stand, your legs shouldn't quiver. Your heart should not fly without purpose. If these events are occurring even once a week, you are being warned by your body. One does not have options for potassium. You cannot go without it for a few days and subsequently make up for. It has to be continuous, daily, constant, and you will sense it if it is not as well. From your legs, from your heart, from your bones, though it may not show on a scale, it will be evident in your movement. Alternatively, stop moving entirely. Magnesium, the quiet collapse of strength, sleep, and stability. You might think fatigue is just part of getting older. That heavy feeling in your legs, the way your muscles twitch at night, how you wake up more tired than when you went to bed. You start avoiding stairs, walking shorter distances, sitting longer than you used to. And the whole time, your muscles are quietly starving. Not for protein or calories, but for something much smaller and more essential, magnesium. This mineral is the unseen conductor of your entire neuromuscular system. It tells muscles when to contract, when to release, and when to rest. It supports heart rhythm, nerve function, and energy metabolism. And when it's missing, everything starts to unravel. Slowly, silently, until weakness, imbalance, and even dangerous falls become your new normal. Magnesium doesn't get the attention it deserves, but it plays a role in over 300 enzyme systems in your body. It's critical for leg function because without enough magnesium, your muscles can't relax properly. That means tension builds. You feel tightness, stiffness, and then spasms, cramping in the calves, jerking at night, a strange buzzing in your feet that won't go away. These aren't just random annoyances. They are neurological warning signs. Your nerves are struggling to communicate with your muscles, and the gap is magnesium. For older adults, magnesium deficiency is especially common. The reasons are everywhere: poor absorption due to aging digestion, the overuse of medications like proton pump inhibitors and diuretics, chronic stress that burns through reserves, and diets low in whole grains, leafy greens, seeds, and legumes. You can be eating normally and still fall short. And once magnesium drops too low, symptoms begin to stack up. Your legs feel heavy. Your energy crashes in the afternoon. You notice muscle soreness that lasts longer than it should. You can't sleep deeply, and when you do, you wake up with twitches or cramps. Some people even feel anxious, jittery, or depressed. All of which are tied to magnesium's role in calming the nervous system. But magnesium deficiency doesn't stop at discomfort. It can lead to irregular heartbeat, increased blood pressure, insulin resistance, and even a greater risk of sudden cardiac events. When your body lacks this mineral, your muscles become less efficient, your bones more brittle, and your entire sense of balance less dependable. Falls increase, injuries become harder to recover from, and the process of decline speeds up. Not because of aging itself, but because your muscles and nerves aren't being given the materials they need to function. Your bones also suffer. While calcium gets most of the credit for bone strength, magnesium is what helps calcium get absorbed properly and stay where it belongs. In the bones, not the arteries or joints. Without enough magnesium, calcium can deposit into soft tissues, making joints stiff and painful or worse, contributing to calcification of blood vessels. That's why magnesium is often called the gatekeeper mineral. It tells other nutrients where to go, what to do, and how to do it safely. Without it, even a balanced diet may not be enough. Fortunately, magnesium is correctable. With the right food choices, levels can be improved quickly. Leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard, pumpkin seeds, almonds, black beans, oats, and avocados are all excellent sources. But you need consistency, not just a handful of spinach once a week. You need daily sources, varied and sustained. In many cases, especially for older adults, supplementation becomes necessary. Magnesium glycinate and magnesium citrate are two forms that are well absorbed and gentle on the stomach. They can help restore levels without causing digestive issues. But as with everything, it starts with awareness. You shouldn't be waking up with cramps. You shouldn't be losing strength after walking a single block. Your muscles shouldn't feel like they belong to someone else. If any of that sounds familiar, your body may be running on empty. Not from lack of effort, but from lack of support. Magnesium is one of the most overlooked yet essential nutrients for seniors who want to stay active, stable, and mentally sharp. And once you restore it, the difference is not subtle. People report deeper sleep, more stable energy, fewer cramps, better blood sugar, calmer moods, and stronger movement. Not because they changed their routine, but because their cells finally had what they needed. This isn't about boosting performance, it's about restoring function. If your legs aren't working like they used to, if your balance is off, if your body feels older than your spirit, check your magnesium. Because sometimes what feels like aging is just deficiency. Vitamin E, the antioxidant shield that fades with age. There's a kind of weakness that doesn't come from lack of effort. It builds slowly, almost invisibly, until one day your legs burn after a short walk, your hands shake when lifting groceries, and your body feels like it's running on fumes. You rest, but it doesn't help. You eat, but something's still missing. The energy never quite returns. The recovery takes longer, and the damage, little by little, starts to pile up. What's being lost isn't just strength, it's protection. And for many older adults, the missing piece is vitamin E. Vitamin E isn't about energy in the way most people think. It doesn't give you a jolt like caffeine or help you build muscle like protein. It works behind the scenes as a shield, a defender, a quiet protector of every single cell in your body. Its main job is to neutralize oxidative stress, the damage caused by unstable molecules known as free radicals. These molecules increase as we age, especially in tissues that work constantly, like muscles and nerves. And when oxidative stress isn't controlled, your cells break down faster. Recovery slows, inflammation rises, fatigue deepens, muscles ache for longer, and over time, function slips away. Nowhere is this more important than in your legs. Your lower body contains the largest muscle groups in the body. They carry your weight, power your movement, and keep you steady when you turn, pivot, or stop yourself from falling. These muscles are also under constant assault from inflammation, microtears, and the slow march of age. Without enough vitamin E, the recovery process becomes inefficient. The small injuries don't heal well, the inflammation lingers. The next time you exert yourself, it gets a little harder, then a little more. Eventually, walking to the mailbox becomes enough to leave you sore, stiff, or short of breath. Vitamin E also plays a critical role in circulation. It helps protect the lining of your blood vessels and prevents platelets from clumping together. This means better blood flow to your legs, more oxygen to your muscles, and a reduced risk of clots or deep vein thrombosis. A serious danger in sedentary older adults. When vitamin E is low, circulation suffers. Legs feel cold, wounds heal slowly, bruises appear more easily, and sometimes clots form silently. Until they travel to the lungs or brain, it's not dramatic until it's deadly. The brain, too, is highly sensitive to vitamin E levels. Studies have shown that deficiency is associated with faster cognitive decline, poor balance, and delayed reaction times. These effects don't always appear with fireworks. It starts with feeling foggy, distracted, a little slower. Your ability to coordinate movement decreases. You feel more awkward rising from a chair or misstep more often, and you chalk it up to aging. But behind that decline is cellular damage. Damage vitamin E is designed to prevent. As we get older, our ability to absorb and retain vitamin E decreases. People with digestive issues, those on fat-restricted diets, or those taking certain medications are especially at risk. But even without those factors, deficiency is surprisingly common. And because it doesn't cause sharp, specific symptoms, it often goes unnoticed until serious problems begin. But here's the thing, when vitamin E is restored, many of those problems begin to reverse. Muscles recover more quickly. Circulation improves. Leg fatigue lessens. People report better coordination, clearer thinking, and fewer unexplained aches. It's not magic. It's maintenance. Vitamin E is found naturally in foods like almonds, sunflower seeds, spinach, and avocados. But to make a difference, intake must be consistent. A few nuts once a week won't fix a long-standing deficiency. And in many cases, especially with absorption issues, supplementation may be needed. Like with every vitamin in this series, the key is not just knowing what it does, but knowing when it's missing. So if your body feels like it's falling behind no matter how hard you try, if your legs are slower than they should be, if your energy doesn't return the way it used to, don't just accept it. Check your levels. Ask about vitamin E. Because it's not just about how strong your legs are, it's about how well your body repairs, protects, and preserves them. And without enough vitamin E, you're not just aging, you're accelerating the damage, silently, until one day you can't get it back.